Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. So we are very lucky to have Dr. Karthik Ramanan, short form Dr. K. You can find out from his YouTube channel later on. Yes, today we're going to talk about naturopathic medicine, nutrition, sleep, fitness, because Dr. K is an expert in naturopathic medicine. Besides that, he has a very broad background. So we're going to invite him to our channel today. Remember to share with your friends. If you think this content helps you, click like and subscribe. And by the way, I actually am wearing my new sweater with the name Altitude or Attitude, my slogan for confidence performance. It is attitude determines altitudes. If you check my website, confidenceperformance.com, it is attitude determines altitude and also outcomes and also action. So I have my logo here with me. Hopefully you can see. This is my lion logo and altitude. So let's move on. Ta-da! Yay!
Woohoo! Glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Master Sarah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise. So we are so looking forward to hear from your sharing. You have such an impressive background. So let me introduce you briefly. For Dr. K, he's actually completed his undergraduate studies at Cornell University. Many Asian parents, they love their kids to go to Ivy League school. So Cornell is one of the Ivy League universities. So Dr. K have completed 2 bachelor's degree in biology science and applied economics and management. He went on to work 8 years on Wall Street, a period of time that spanned the recession of 2008 and the years after. So after experiencing a life-changing 100-pound weight loss journey, interesting, he left his career and attended Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine in Tempe, Arizona to become a naturopathic physician. So Dr. K, welcome. And by the way, I would like to apologize if I did not introduce you broad enough. So would it be possible to tell us more about your background so that we can learn more from you?
Yeah, absolutely. You certainly elegantly covered education, the experience, that sort of thing. But I think sometimes, we look at, especially as high achievers, right? We're always looking at the things that we've accomplished and the places we've been, and whether it's degrees, whether it's awards, whatever it is. And sometimes we forget that we're people, and as people, we have our challenges, our emotions. And so oftentimes I'll lead with this story. So about 11 years ago, I found myself in a very interesting place. I had just moved into my first apartment of my own. I was working, as you mentioned earlier, on Wall Street at the time, and I got my first studio apartment on the 30th floor of a skyrise building, a brand new construction, overlooking the New Jersey horizon. It was a beautiful view, and my apartment was wall to wall, floor to ceiling, just window. So I could walk up and just see the clear view of the horizon, look down, 30 floors. It felt like I was on top of the world. And at that point in time, I had paid off my undergraduate student loans. I'd paid off my parents' credit card debt, and I was able to give more to charity than I ever thought I could at that age. And I was a single guy in New York. The only problem was this: I hated the man in the mirror. I hated the man in the mirror because the truth was I was excessively overweight. I was finding myself in a situation where dating was not going well. I was incredibly lonely, but I would go to the office and nobody knew. I'd put on a mask. Nobody knew. I'd just do a really good job. And again, just try to get the promotions and everything else that, society tells us would make us happy. Right. And I just found I was at a place where I was burned out and none of it was there. And just as I was reaching kind of a state of rock bottom, I was trying to lose weight every year and I would fail and regain weight. And I tried so many things, even like P90X and whatnot, and had some success, but then just rebounded back. And And at that point in time, I saw my sister after a 3-month span, and she was going to MIT at the time, and she had her. I saw her at Christmas, and then I saw her during her spring break. She went to visit my parents, and I went up there so we could all be together. And in that 3-month time, she had lost 30 pounds, and her cystic acne had cleared up, and she looked incredible. I said, what did you do? Because I was desperate. After being overweight my whole life, I was desperate to it's like, whatever you did, I'm going to do, is what I'm telling myself in my head before I even ask her the question. So I said, what did you do? She says, I've just been eating a raw food, plant-based diet. I said, oh, okay. What's that? She said, I've just been eating fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, just as they're found in nature. I said, okay, you're crazy, but if it worked for you, it probably, genetically similar, it might work for me. So over the next few weeks, I just gradually transitioned into eating more whole plant foods, uncooked, just as they're found in nature. And in that period of time, I slowly started to lose weight, and then I aggressively, and I was like, what's going on? And I wasn't looking at the scale because that was my old pattern. I said, whatever happens, happens. I was at a place where it's like, I have nothing to lose. It's a beautiful place to be. And after 3 weeks, I was at the lowest weight I had ever been as an adult. And that's when my mind blew open, and I said, oh my God, if I could simply, this could mean that I could have the body I've always wanted. Maybe I could be attractive and maybe, be appealing to women. Like, it was, all these things were possibilities now that I never thought I could have. I always thought I was just going to be the guy that worked hard, do incredibly good things, but I was just going to be fat and ugly in my head, right? That's what I thought. And all of a sudden, it's like, wait a second, those assumptions that I had about myself might not be true. So I continue eating this way. The weight starts coming off. People start noticing. And they say, hey, Karthik, can you help me lose a few pounds here and there? And so I was just giving people some recipes and bringing food into the office, that kind of thing. And I saw type 2 diabetes go away, hypertension, chronic migraines. And I said, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but if these people are having these kind of health outcomes, this is inspiring. I need to figure out how to make this my career. And as I dug a little further, I started to recognize, wait a second, do we have a headache because of the lack of Advil in our system? Or maybe there's something going on with our hydration or whatever else it might be that is creating this acute symptom. But maybe it's the same thing for a lot of chronic conditions. Maybe nutrition has something to do with it. Maybe we're feeding our body things that it wasn't evolutionarily designed to eat, right? So what happens if we start to change our nutrition, change our lifestyle patterns? And the more I learned about it, I learned about this form of medicine that is, at least in the United States, licensed in, I think, about 24 states right now, Naturopathic Medicine. And I dug deeper. It's a go through traditional medical school and, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, genetics, diagnosis, imaging, all of the everything, all the ology courses. On top of that, what are some of the treatments that help aid the body in its own ability to heal? So how do you aid the body in gut health? How do you aid the body in its immune health? How do you aid the body in emotional health, right? And I started digging into this. I found out about naturopathic medicine. I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave this career. And I left a lot on the table. I left a lot behind, but I just felt so drawn and inspired to take a chance on myself and say, let's see what happens, right? So I found out about Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. By that time, my sister had graduated with her master's, and she had moved down to Arizona to work for a company down here. And so she tells, yeah, from MIT, yeah. And she, so I talked to her about this, like, I didn't really plan on going back to school, but what do you think if I apply for this program? And she's like, one of these programs. She goes, one of the best naturopathic schools in the country is right up the road from where I live now in Arizona, right? And I said, no, really? So I I flew down. I visited the school. I later applied, interviewed, got accepted, and this is now 2013. So I left my previous career, and when I was literally on the plane, the movers had taken all my boxes. I was on the plane, was just carry on. Plane had left, and I'm looking at the New York metropolitan area, literally flying away. I'm flying away from it. My old life is down there, right? I'm going to Arizona and nobody knows me. If there was ever an opportunity now, after having lost 100 pounds, right? After discovering that the stories that I had told myself about what I was and was not capable of were not true. If there was ever an opportunity to reinvent who I was, this was it. So what I did on the plane was I said, okay, I took out a sheet of paper and I said, what is Dr. K of the future, the guy that I am building, what is he like? What books does he read? What podcasts does he listen to? Right? What are his habits and routines? How does he eat? How does he sleep? How does he move his body? Who does he spend time with? Who does he not spend time with? What kind of a leader is he? And I just mapped out this ideal version of myself in the future of what I would be. And when I landed in Arizona and from the months and years that followed, I just said, let's implement some of those things one at a time today. And in the process, that's who I became. And now, as an emotional health mentor, that's my focus with my specialty. I use principles of naturopathic medicine. I use principles of lifestyle medicine in the realm of emotional health, specifically to help high achieving entrepreneurs and professionals end burnout. And ultimately, my whole goal in all of this is, to stop chasing joy in life, and to really begin living in wonder, because we can have it all. We can grow and contribute and do incredible things in this world while enjoying the process and enjoying the growth along the way, so that it's not just, get to that next level, get to that next promotion, get to that next thing, and never be able to celebrate the fact that we were already there. So again, it's all about that personal growth, combined with the health side of it, to bring your mind in line with your physical health, but also your goals in life.
That's really, really interesting. I myself, I'm a big fan of naturopathic medicine. I actually created a video. For those who are interested, I'm going to point it here, somewhere here. I talk about what kind of supplement that I'm taking during this COVID pandemic time. Well, I do normally do take it regularly, but during this pandemic time, I take extra step to focus more on my nutritional supplement and also my natural food supplement. So I talk about vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin Z, zinc, probiotics, and B propolis, and so on. So if you're interested, you can take a look. My video up there. And for me, the reason why I'm a big fan of naturopathic medicine, because the conventional medicine did not, just for my family's case, did not really treat my son's eczema, did not really treat my former UTI, urinary tract infection, and also did not really treat my other son's frequent ear infection. He had this ear tube surgery. He was asked to do the second time when he was really young, about 1.5 years old. I did not agree, so I went to seek for alternative medicine. So the reason why I had a kind of strong interest in medicine when I was a kid. My dream was to becoming a medical doctor. So I always have interest in medicine. Well, my undergraduate was in kinesiology, physical and health education. That's the reason why. And naturopathic medicine actually treated my younger son's eczema, treated my UTI, did not come back. Since then I had never had any UTI. Thanks God for that. And also naturopathic medicine treated my elder son's ear infection. Yeah, from then on, no more ear infection. So it's really, really amazing. So that's why I started to follow more about naturopathic medicine. That's why I'm so impressed with your background. What do you think we should take to improve our emotional health? For example, if we are very stressful in terms of our work, we are burnt out. Besides taking a balanced diet, should we take additional supplement?
Yeah. So really great question. And I think, the way that I talk about, emotional health, I talk about what I call the 5 pillars of emotional health. So number 1, your psychology. This is your established thought patterns and beliefs, the way that you talk to yourself in your own mind. Also includes history of trauma. But these are the stories, the facts of life that you grew up around. This is really your emotional intelligence. It's your personal development. This is your willingness to step outside of your comfort zone, and to live into the vision of the person that you wish to be, the person that you were born to be. So it's that mindset, above all else. So that's number 1, working on those things. Number 2, your relationships. We're the average of the 5 people and ideas that we spend the most time with. And to make the greatest change in any aspect of our life, the first thing to do is to change our environment. So who are you spending time with? Are the people that you're spending time with people that align with the person that you're trying to become, the person that you're trying to build? Because if they don't, probably want to adjust who you're spending your time with. And the same with ideas. What are the concepts, the books that you're reading, the social media that you're absorbing, those type of things. If they are not in line with the person that you are seeking to become, they don't have a role in your life. And that's the philosophy that I've put into action, that I teach my clients. It works incredibly well. But it's also, working on relationships also means addressing pain points with your significant other, with people who are close to you. It's also forgiveness. Who do we have to forgive from our past? Sometimes it's even ourselves, right? Those relationships are critically important, because if we are constantly burdened by those things in our day-to-day life, or even in our subconscious mind, it's very difficult for us to have the balance, the emotional intelligence, and emotional resilience, emotional health as a whole, to move forward. That's number 2 is nutrition. Number 2 is relationships. Number 3 is nutrition, because 90% of the neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that regulate our nervous system, are created, regulated in our gut by the gut microbes, the bacteria that live in our intestines. And this is collectively known as our gut microbiome. And they are critically important. The foods that we feed them directly determine the neurotransmitter function in our body, among other factors, but it's a major factor. And eating real food, especially whole plant foods that are high in fiber. We talk about high fat, low fat, high protein, low protein. It's fiber. Focus on the fiber. Focus on everything else after it. If you take in enough fiber, at least certainly from an emotional health standpoint, gut health in general, fiber is critically important, and you only are going to get that from the whole plant foods. So, but if we eat too many foods that are high in refined sugar and refined animal products and those things, it's going to affect our gut microbiome, and therefore how we think, act, and feel. Changing the neurochemical balance in our body is directly related to what we put into our body. So number 3, nutrition. Number 4, sleep. And I know your high achieving audience, my high achieving audience, the last thing you want to hear is you got to sleep. Yeah. It's the first thing to go, right? You got things to do. The sleep is the first thing to go. You wake up early, you stay up late, whatever it is. Right. And I get it. When I was in college at Cornell, I would sleep anywhere from 4 to 5 hours a night regularly for years on end. In my days on Wall Street, it was more like 6 hours. But as I got older, I paid the price. Like, you will pay the price eventually. And if you think about it, again, evolution, right? How did we, if we were out in the wild, what is the most vulnerable situation you can be in? Sleeping, right? You can be attacked when you sleep by another animal, whatever, right? You're completely vulnerable. And yet, we spend 1/3 of our life sleeping. What benefit, like if to be in that kind of danger out in nature, right? There must be a real reason for why we need sleep, and there is, because sleep is when we process the day's events. The brain literally detoxifies during sleep, eliminates waste products during sleep. It's also the time where we commit long-term memories. We form connections and we process thoughts. Have you ever gone to bed thinking about something and you wake up and you're like, oh, I have the solution? We do a lot of that in our sleep as well. Sacrificing sleep will catch up to us. So, and we all have that experience of, when we don't have enough sleep for a certain amount of time, that we get stressed out very easily. Maybe we're snapping at people very easily. That our emotional resilience goes down the tube when we don't sleep. So sleep, incredibly important. That's number 4. And number 5, your wheelhouse, body movement, right? You have to move your body and exercise and be strong physically in order to be strong mentally, because motion drives emotion. Sometimes we'll be sitting in a chair for a long time. And you had mentioned to me before we got started today, you can't sit and watch TV forever because, if it's easy to be stationary and then feel you're stuck, but just go outside, get some sun, walk a little bit, and all of a sudden you're in a very different state. And so body movement is more than just about exercise. It's not about necessarily just working out for an hour a day. It's about being in constant motion. The longest lived populations on Earth are in low grade constant motion, whether they're walking, whether it's just their day-to-day work involves some physical activity. So that has a large impact on our emotional health. So when we're talking about how to build our emotional health, I talk about focusing on those 5 pillars, and that goes the longest way.
Yeah, I totally agree. And for high achievers, most of the time, we don't sleep much. Especially for me, during bedtime, I always have this unfinished business in my brain. When it's time for sleep, for me, it was like, oh, I have something I have to do. Oh, I haven't finished that one. Oh, let me finish that one before I always have something I needed to do, right? And then at the end, I ended up sleep late again. And then I said, tomorrow I'm going to sleep early. And then I ended up sleeping late again, just because of that kind of cycle.
And then you sleep late and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm behind. I have to catch up on all this work. So I'm going to get up early the next day. And then maybe you do, but you didn't sleep enough. And now, it's a vicious cycle. Whereas if we can create a consistent pattern, and also, but part of it is that psychological willingness to say, I'm going to prioritize sleep because I need it. I'm going to be more productive when I'm well rested. And therefore, this is my calendar. These are when I'm going to do these things. I have a limited time to get all these things done, and be willing to say, hey, you know what? Maybe 90% quality is good enough, especially when we're talking about as a business owner, right? Done is better than perfect. And this is something I had to learn. It was hard, right? Because we're so used to trying to get that 100%, right, on the test score. But that's not good in business when you're trying to, especially in the beginning, where you have to get going. Then you can refine later, right? It's very much not like that being able to prioritize that sleep and being willing to put that in front. And that said, a lot of people do have challenges with sleeping, and that's why there's actually one of the most popular videos on my channel is how to fix your body clock. How to fix your, when you're not able to sleep at a certain time or you wake up at a different time. So how to take actions that will kind of reset your body clock to be able to, sleep when the sun goes down, wake up when the sun comes up, etc.
Yeah, that is the challenges that I constantly have to remind myself. Sleep time, go to bed. I set up my alarm clock so that it reminds me, okay, alarm clock, bedtime.
Yeah.
But sometimes whenever I reach the bed, it's like, oh, I didn't finish this, I didn't finish that. Then I told myself, okay, I have to sort of force myself to sleep sometimes. And you talk about the movement, right? Body movement. That is a really good advice. Most of my ideas came during my run or
Mm,
during my exercise or run at the park. So
right.
whenever I run, and then suddenly, oh, I have that solution. I have that solution. It's actually most of the time during my run. So I appreciate my exercise time. I appreciate my time off for the park to the park. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
Yeah. That's also one of those things for some people though that it's like, oh, I don't have time for that. It's like, well, what could you possibly multitask in some respect, right?
mm,
Like you're going out for a walk while you're thinking about maybe what you have to put together for that presentation. And all of a sudden, like you said, your blood's flowing, you're moving, you're in the sun, and all of a sudden the thought comes to you. So
yeah,
maybe take a little notepad with you so you write an idea down, right? But you can multitask and get some of these benefits all together.
yeah. That's a good idea. Bring a iPad. Uh, Bring a cell phone. Normally nowadays,
Yeah, or just make a little voice memo on the cell phone, right? It's
yeah,
like, oh yeah, they're talking, and then put it back in and just keep walking.
yeah, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good idea. I always have that kind of ideas came out. Whatever ideas, it just pop up. Also, it's a time for me to think. Whenever I run, I
yeah,
think, and whenever I run, people listen to music, but normally when I run, I listen to the nature. I listen to
yeah,
the
yeah.
birds, or the sound of the trees, the breeze. Occasionally, I listen to my audiobook. Yeah. So during my audiobook, I also have that pop up moment where I learn from the book that I can apply to my real life. So
Right,
yeah, it's like multitask. You run, you listen to book.
right,
That works out.
right.
Yeah. So I'm actually very interested to know more about your career transition. Many people admire investment bankers that work at the Wall Street, right? So what make you change your career from Wall Street to medicine?
Yeah, well, I told you the weight loss journey earlier. There was something that just clicked in me as I was going through that experience that just, I think sometimes we start thinking about like, what's my purpose in life? And that was the state I was in really in my late 20s, thinking like, okay, am I going to be doing this forever? Or is there something else that I'm called to do, but I don't know what it is? And sometimes we just have to allow those moments in life to come to us. And that's really what happened with that journey. And I just found so much gratitude in being able to educate people about not only here, maybe some of this food, this different way of eating can be beneficial to you, but more so than that, it was the changes that happen up here when people start to see themselves as greater than what they thought they were, just as I was, right? And as I was going through this, I was inspiring other people to change their lives too. That was so gratifying to me. And I had to figure out a way to make a living doing that. And ultimately, that's what ended up here. So it was definitely, I think some people, when they change careers or they change jobs, change companies, oftentimes it's running away from like, oh, my boss stinks or whatever it is, right? This company doesn't, it's not a good fit, whatever. And they're running away from something. I found myself running toward something. I wasn't running away. I was running toward this new career path. And I didn't even know what it would look like. I just knew I had to take the chance. And then I trusted myself to figure it out later.
Yeah, I like that. Running towards something, running towards something. So for me, uh, I have a full time job, so this is just my part time hustle. I felt that I'm running towards something that I had missed when I was still single, right? When I
Yeah.
was single, I actually have my own trademark. I applied my own trademark, and it's been approved more than 20 years now.
Mm,
I didn't get the chance to work on it because I have another job, and then I have kids, I have family, so I just let it, I just put it aside. And now my kids are quite big now, 17 and 20 years old. They can take care of themselves. And I thought about how about my trademark? Maybe it's a time to work on it. That's why that pushes me to go towards another goal. to complete my passion. My passion is to create something. I like to create something. I love creativity and I love freedom. I love to be my own boss.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not easy. I know many people, many entrepreneurs fail. Just an athlete, right? As an athlete, as a former athlete myself, uh, failure is actually just part of the game.
Right.
Uh, because of failure, you get improved. You improve and you learn more and you becomes better, and then you maybe achieve your goals, ultimate goals. So for me, not trying, um, if not trying is a challenge for me. I'm not afraid of failure. I love challenge. I am not afraid of failure. However, when when you have family, it's not about you anymore. That's how I learned. When
Hmm.
you have family, you have to care for your family, and yeah, it's not easy to balance, right?
Yeah.
When you have family, you have to think about your kids. You need to be with them, and so it's a career transition. That's why I'm actually admire your career transition. For me, I changed my career to match my family's needs.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
everyone's different. So now my kids are older, and they ask me, "Mom, why didn't you just do whatever you want?" That's why I'm here.
Right. Well, you know what? I love that because, and you know, a lot of the clients that I work with are in a similar situation where, you know, they had an ambition at one point in their life, and it might have been a very specific one. Had a family, still, again, you know, high achieving, whatever realm they were in, whatever job, whatever line of work, but also high achieving in the mindset of being a parent and raising children to be the best that they can be and everything else, right? And then get to a point where kids are older, and now it's like, okay, maybe they're out of the house now, and I have clients that are really in that realm of, well, what now? And maybe the thing that they wanted to do once upon a time, maybe the world has moved in a different direction, and that might not be the way, but that, again, that desire to be creative and entrepreneurial. I know several people who have started businesses for the first time in their life in their 50s, and some are good friends of mine as well. And it just goes to show that anything is possible. But what we have to start with is that mentality that we can, right? Because it's so easy to say, oh, I'm too old for this, or it's, you know, life has passed me by and all this. And they're all stories that we tell ourselves to keep ourselves safe. The truth is, we didn't get to where we are by accident. Like, we're all very talented at certain things if we are willing to look there. And the same skills that made us exceptional in different realms can be applied to a new one. It's just the willingness to be bad at something at first, again, right? So that we can grow and become great at it and do something that is, you know, of service and contribution, and something that can make the world a better place. And especially, I think, as we grow older, we have more of a desire to put our efforts into something of that realm. So I completely understand, you know, your specific, you know, desire to do that. It's a common one, and I'm hoping that, you know, there are many in your audience that are seeing that example in yourself, and starting to at least think about, if not act on, what moves you. You know, what do you want in your life? What do you really want? Go do it. Go do it. It's never too late. It's never too late.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's never too late. I look up to many entrepreneurs as my role models. Those started their career when they reach 50 or over. So I would like to share three of my role models. They are the founder of Walmart. He started Walmart after he reached 50 years old. That will be after 50 years old, I believe. So another role model is Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC Fried Chicken, the founder. He started KFC after 50 years old. So I have a female role model. Her name is Barbara Koshkran. She's a panel in Shark Tank. For those who like to watch Shark Tank, yeah, Barbara is my role model because she started when she was in her 50, after 50 as well. And she's now over 60 years old. I'm not so sure she's multi-millionaire or billionaire, but she's up there. So that's why I look up to them. For me, I always wanted to create something. I was raised by my grandparents since I was 4 years old. Both of them were entrepreneurial, and I was their bookkeeper or accountant, meaning accountant. Especially for my grandma. So whenever she bought something for the business, she always asked me to jot it down. So I recorded all the expenses and all the revenues, and at the end of each month, I'm the one who calculated all the balance sheet. At that time, I didn't know about what is balance sheet. I just use common sense. Okay, expenses, and this is revenue. At the end, I said revenue minus expenses. There's no, that's it. I don't have that my own standardized financial statement or balance sheet. So yeah, so I was her accountant or mini accountant or bookkeeper. I follow her whenever she tried to sell her products. She was a farmer. She also was a cook. So I travel with her around and try to sell the product and services. Yeah, I had that kind of environment since I was a kid. But then having education, and that's a different world. And many people say if you're farmers, you don't need education. So they always say, oh, have higher education, get a good job. And they never ask me be an entrepreneur or be a farmer like them. But I developed that kind of business sense since I was a kid. Then for me, working for other or as an employee, is different than entrepreneur. And because an entrepreneur, you are a creator, you have more flexibility, you have more freedom. You can do whatever you want according to your ideas. But if it's not possible if you work for somebody else. And I love to travel. So I love to communicate with different groups. That's why I decided to create my online course. It's free, but within the online course, I actually incorporated my trademark program, which is called Aerobic. It's a combination of taekwondo and dance and aerobic movement. So I call it Aerobic. That's my trademark. I got it past when I was still single. It's more than 20 years old. I only got to work on it for about 2-3 years now, just gradually. Then within the online course, I also talk about mental skills. I did my master's in sports psychology, but I got also to apply to myself as an athlete and also as a competitor or competitive athlete. Yeah, I talk about visualization. I talk about how to overcome negativity in sports and competition. I wrote my first book. It is called Master of Mind, Master of Life. At that time, I didn't know how to name my book. Actually, I just wrote something and then I just name it.
But isn't that so important though, to just be able to, like, you don't know the best way to do it. Doesn't matter. Do it.
Yeah.
And figure it out later, right? I mean, and I think especially when we're talking about something that we're passionate about, something that matters to us, that's such an important thing to remember, that like perfectionism is only going to limit our ability to actually deliver and actually be of service to other people. And we can be the high achieving mindset and still do incredible things, but taking like an iterative approach to it rather than trying to get it all done perfectly the first time, because otherwise it just won't get done.
Yeah, exactly. I always wanted to write a book, but I had keep delaying. And always thought that, oh, I'm not sure if people like it. I'm not sure if that's a good book. I'm not sure if this is complete. Then I learned to just, take away all this perfectionism and just publish.
Right.
That's how I published my first book. It's not perfect.
That's awesome.
But something I hope, something I can help people. Is on Amazon. The what do you call that? The ebook is only $2.99. I put it really low price. During Christmas time, I'm going to put everything for free. Christmas time. You can check about it. You can check during Christmas time. So yeah, you can check my free online course. It is confidenceperformance.com/free course. It's on the screen if you look at my YouTube video. Otherwise, if you are listening to podcast, you can always check the description down below. And I would like all of you to also check Dr. K's website. As I mentioned, he has a very impressive background. Check his social media. And yeah, Dr. K, if you have any free things that you like to give away.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to my website, drkarthikramanan.com, which she'll link to in the description. If you go on my website, right toward the top, there's an opportunity to sign up for my Dr. K journal. And basically the journal is, if you've always heard, like, for mental health, journaling is so good. Like, I hated journaling. I didn't like journaling because I'm a very, like top down analytical. It was like open form journaling. I didn't know what to write. So I actually developed one of my own that basically allows you to do the goal setting, your visualization for the day, also track some of the, again, your 5 pillars of emotional health during the day. So your food, your water intake, sleep, all those things. And then at the end of the day, have a quick little reflection so that we can live each day intentionally. We can live each day like it matters, on purpose. So it's just a 1-page journal, 1 page for every day. You can download it for free, free PDF from my website, drkarthikramanan.com. And also feel free to check out any of the videos on my channel, which she'll link to as well. Good
to know. And I also have a journal. You can actually check the link below on the screen. It's also free. It's a journal that is actually based on my book. I wrote down through 12 simple steps how I, train myself or monitor myself, and how I achieved my Olympic dreams back in 1992 through my mental journaling. I love journaling when I was still a kid. That's why I actually sort of follow through that kind of skills to my athletic life. When I was an athlete, I actually wrote down almost every day what I did that day. I said, today I trained blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Today
great.
I got injury. Today I sparred with such and such people and I got injury. And sometimes I express my emotion. I do not like that opponent.
Yeah, it's important to recognize those things as they happen, because sometimes if we don't process and keep that information available, sometimes it's really fascinating to go back and read. Sometimes, because here, prime example. Sometimes you just feel like you're stuck in life, and you feel like, I've been working on this business or whatever it is for so long, and I haven't grown in it at all. It just feels that way. But here's the thing: what you feel and what is true may not align. Facts versus feelings. Sometimes they're not the same thing. And journaling is a great way to look back, let's say a year, and say, looking at some of the stuff I was dealing with back then, I have come a long way. So it's really useful for that purpose as well. But I've had a fascinating time talking with you today, and look forward to reading the comments and jumping in there and seeing how I can be of service to any of your listeners.
Thank you so much. You help us a lot, and hope we connect again. And remember, for all those who are watching or listening, remember to check the links down below, okay? Or down within or inside the description. And last but not least, share with your friends if you think this is helpful. Subscribe and click like. Thank you for now, and bye everyone. Thank you,
Take
Dr.
care.
K.